Hey guys, my name is Nicolette Mashile. I'm also known as the Financial Bunny. Welcome to the Financial Bunny TV. Today we're talking all things knowing the property laws if you're going to go into that space. And I'll tell you guys a story. Guys, give us scammed. Like this close to being scammed. Honestly, I'm not lying to you guys. But anyway, remember that none of my videos constitute as financial advice. If you are looking for financial advice, please speak to somebody who is certified and registered with somebody who's registered to give you financial advice. So let me tell you guys a story. So y'all know once I went and bought some farmland and I was really excited about buying my farmland. Now, to give you a bit of insight or to paint a picture, essentially what happened is that the farmland was a big piece of land. So you imagine a rectangle of land, right? So what the lady did is that she cut the land into four equal pieces, right? So the bottom parts were the parts that she was selling and the top parts were the two parts that she was keeping, right? Shop, no problem. Buy the land, go and meet her, and all things are nice. But the problem is the only entry to get to the land that we have bought at the bottom is through her gate at the top. Again, so you gotta go through the gate for you to be able to get to your piece of land. Sharp, no problem. No, we're good. We're neighborly about everything. Every time we need to go. In fact, I'm speaking for myself. Every time I needed to go there, she would really be open and she would open for me. She would tell me, please let me know in time, and it was all good. We were having a really good relationship. Now, this lady has got trucks, so she's got fleet, right? And the fleet is now on the land that is directly parallel to the land that I have bought, right? So there was like a makeshift fence in between us. So there was fence, it was just not electric fence. Whereas around the entire perimeter, she's got an electric fence. At the bottom, because she's actually sharing a stop nonsense, basically. So at the bottom, there's no fence because the guys who are her next door neighbors at the time had a stop nonsense that was going up. So obviously, you wouldn't be able to enter at the bottom, right? Sharp, no problem. Which means that on the side, she's got electric fence and the front, she's got electric fence, right? Sharp. We then have a conversation to say, okay, Nicolette, at some point in the future, you need to put in a gate on your side. I'm like, sure, no problem. She's like, while we're speaking about you putting a gate, I'm going to need to move the electric fence so that this makeshift fence that we have in between me and you needs to become electric fence because I want to protect my trucks. I'm like, oh, okay. First and foremost, I'm like, who are you protecting these trucks from? Because it's not like there's any other entry to my part of the land. So I'm not really sure if they were to buy or if they were to break in and steal your trucks, because the only other exit or entry is still your main gate. But anyway, being the good neighbor that I am, I'm like, sure, no problem, put in your electric fence. She then goes on to give us costs about how we're going to share the costs. And, so absent-mindedly, I'm like, oh, no, this is cool. I see your costs. I see what the costs are. All right, shut, no problem. This lady gives nobody the go-ahead. First of all, she didn't get the go-ahead from nobody, right? She got no go-ahead from anybody. Secondly, over and above that, it's her supplier that she has chosen. Thirdly, it's her timeline. She needs an electric fence because her trucks are now in danger. Sharp. She goes ahead and she puts up this electric fence of hers. But on my side now, on the portion that I have bought, the one that's now facing that way, she breaks the fence. Now she puts in a makeshift gate for me. I'm like, the one day in late December, early January, it was actually late December because it was before it was actually January. I go there to go and see what's happening here. I get there, this makeshift gate. Mind you, she knew I had an intention of putting a gate. In fact, that crazy ex-boyfriend of mine had bought me a gate and we had left the gate there on her premises because we had said that on the day, because we went there initially and we wanted to put the gate. Then she said to us, no, you can't cut the fence if you are not going to restore the fence or something like that. And we said, we don't have a problem. We can restore your fence immediately. But I figured out what she didn't want. She didn't want the fence to be restored with me now being able to also use a portion of that fence that was going to be restored. Because what she wanted to do was to move the energizer from where the energizer is, because the energizer was energizing the whole perimeter. So yeah, she wants to move the energizer to where she is on her this new fence of hers. Sharp. Anyway, I get in fact, on a holiday, I get a WhatsApp from this lady. Apparently, she's a paralegal. And she's like, hey, Nicolette, wanted to speak to you about the shared cost that you are still owing Spanbani on the fence. I'm like, first of all, I ignored her because I was like, I'm not entertaining this. If you're coming to me as a lawyer, you better write yourself a letter. You better send me a letter that says you are summoning me for some type of conversation, letter of demand, something that says legal. Because now I'm going to go into a conversation, I'm going to implicate myself. Sorry, okay, I know what the law says. By the way, before even this lawyer thing, before we even got to that part, this lady had sent me a WhatsApp, and she's like, hey, Nicolette, you promised to... I said, I never promised to pay nothing. I acknowledged your costs. I didn't promise to pay. I acknowledged your costs. And let's say I agreed, being a good neighbor that I am, to share the fence cost. At whose timeline? Because I'm not doing anything on my land. So why am I being put under pressure now to go and put the electric fence, to go and energize my fence, to put in the... I'm not doing anything. I've got no plan yet for my land. So why when I put her under pressure? Why did you not get a go-ahead from me to be able to put those things? And then let us go back to the original offer to purchase. I get it, the original offer to purchase says that I bought my land footstoots. Footstoots says as it is. So because let's assume the land had a problem. And I went back to her and I said, Mama, this land that you've sold to me, it's got too much sand. It's got a problem. I cannot plant on it. What was she going to say to me? She was going to turn around and say, but I sold you the land as is, using the same footstoots clause. Okay? So then now, when I bought the land, it had fence. It had electric fence on the side. It had a fence in the middle. So this new fence, she must explain to me who's in the Genab. Then she was like, this is not about a footstool thing. This is about the fact that you are... I said, I'd never agreed. I acknowledged your costs. And even if, let's say, I was going to pay you, I cannot be paying you at your timeline. Anyway, fast forward. Oh, no. So we had a very big chuckle with the guy that bought the land next to me because I literally called him. He called me and I missed his call, and then I tried to call him and he missed my call, and then I sent him a message and I'm like, are you getting sued? And he's like, yep. And it was the biggest joke of our life because we're just like, how are we getting sued over wire? Literally a fence. You're suing us over a fence. It's not going to work like that with us. So anyway, I get now, it was Monday was a holiday. Tuesday, I spoke to the gentleman and we were like, no, this lady's playing games. Wednesday, I get a call now from this paralegal. You must not try me when it comes to the law because I'm afraid of the law. I am extremely afraid of the law, which is why I always arm myself with a team of lawyers. The moment she picked up the phone and she was like, no, I said, ma'am, tell me in which capacity you are speaking to me. Are you talking to me as a lawyer or are you talking to me as a mediator? Because if you're talking to me as a lawyer, then let me call my bull terrier lawyer so you can have those conversations with her. Because me, I'm not going to implicate myself. If you're talking to me as a mediator, let's have a conversation. And then let me tell you guys where I started. Because first and foremost, I did not give her a go-ahead. So these costs that she has created on her own. Secondly, there is a law in this country. You don't just get to do the things that you want to do because you have, I don't know what you have. We must go back and refer to the document that we have. And the document we have in front of us is an offer to purchase. And it says that I'm buying this thing footstools. But thirdly and most importantly, you have now compromised my land. Because when you cut your fence, you compromise my land. So essentially, you've actually damaged my land. You've damaged a piece of my real estate. So this is why I always say to you guys, if you're going to go into these things and you don't want to get scammed, make sure you understand the legislation and the laws that are going to govern all of the things that you're doing. There is no point in you going into property as a business, real estate as a business, without fully comprehending where the laws are and what the laws say. I promise you, it's going to save you because you don't need to be fighting with people. You simply say, you know what? This is where I stand. I'm going to use my legal counsel because I also have the right to use legal counsel, but this is where I stand in terms of how I am seeing things because literally I could have just been a whole lot of money. Like, because some lady said I have to pay because I said I'm going to pay. No, I acknowledged your costs. I did not agree to paying your costs. I acknowledged your costs. But even if I acknowledged your costs at the same time, it is at your timeline. It is not my timeline that we're now working on. But anyway, I see you guys on the next video.